Well, you've caught me in my study. I was doing a little writing, trying to keep my mind off of the mess that Trump has been making and my frustration with the Republicans for not doing their job and reining him in. And that is their job. That's how Madison, mainly Madison, I guess, made sure that the Constitution was divided up and put enough blots in front of things that a guy like Trump couldn't get away with it. And of course, if they'd just do their job, he wouldn't be getting away with it. And yes, I wrote songs and said, don't be gullible anymore. I wrote 3 songs and I put them on. Maybe you've heard them. They're on the channel. And why did I say that? Well, I mean, think about it. Come on. Come on, really. Think about it. Remember when he was running? Remember the lies that he would tell? And of course, he tells lies all the time, but it got ridiculous. It sounded like a little boy. You know, it just, oh, and Venezuela has released 72,000 rapists and murderers and sent them all to our country. And they've all got in under Joe Biden. And he was saying that, and someone with the media said, where did you get those numbers? And he goes, just like a little boy when they get caught lying, just like a little boy. I saw him somewhere. He said so many lies. I mean, just like wild imagination, like a kid's wild imagination. And you're gonna put him in charge, and you see what he did. He started a war with Iran. And of course, he didn't think it through at all because he's incapable of thinking anything through. I mean, if you think that he was ever a good businessman, you're sorely mistaken. He was never good at all at it. His professor at Wharton School, Lord have mercy, the things that he said before he died about him. I've had a couple of thousand students, but I remember Trump because he was so dumb. He shouldn't have been here. His dad bought his way in and bought his degree for him. He didn't earn a damn thing. Well, I'm not surprised. The man's just not very smart. I mean, anybody that stands around and starts talking about how smart they are, you can bet they're stupid as shit. Smart people realize how much they don't know. God almighty. And that crap he put out, he started talking about, they're taking your kids right out of school and changing their sex. God damn, I mean, that is so far out. Why would you vote for a guy like that? If that's not being gullible, I don't know what is. I figure a lot of the folks that voted for him, they voted for him just because they couldn't vote for a black woman. When are we going to get beyond that? I mean, we could have had possibly one of the best presidents that this country's ever had. I mean, think about Kamala Harris. She put herself through college. She worked and put herself through college. And then she put herself through law school. And then she took the bar exam and passed it. And then she got hired by the prosecuting attorney in San Francisco. And she prosecuted a number of cases, and she was so good at it that she got voted in to be the DA, district attorney. And she was so good at that she got voted in, made the attorney general in California. And she was so good at that she easily won the election to be senator. And she was so good at that, Biden selected her to be his vice president. Anyway, there was someone that would have done it right. She would not have stacked her cabinet with dumbasses like Trump has done. Your only qualification is, are you loyal to Trump? What a stupid, if you're in charge, the last thing you want is to be surrounded by yes people. That's how you never succeed. You will never succeed if you're surrounded by yes people. You gotta be surrounded by people who will tell you the truth and tell you when your fucking ideas are just stupid or suggest better ideas. And when those kind of people agree with you, you know you've hit on something. I enjoyed a lot of success first half of my career with AT&T as operations manager. And the reason I did is because I was surrounded with people that would tell me the truth. And they weren't fearful at all. And thank God. That's why I was successful. Second half of my career, I got to go to the Network Operating Center. And I got to do, because I'm kind of a techie guy, or I was then. I'm a math guy, physics guy, electronics. I worked on Nike Hurt missiles when I got drafted in the Army. It was kind of unheard of for a 2-year guy to do that, but they insisted. They put me through a 7-month school. Those were nuclear missiles. And they had me maintaining them. I was a mischievous soldier. I was never a soldier. Even in basic, I couldn't quite be a soldier. My drill sergeant got to where he laughed at me instead of... They got tired of making me do sit-ups and low crawl and tackle bushes and climb pine trees and run around the formation. 250 trainees run around that formation as it marched down the road. Holding that damn M16. God, I hated that M16. A fine weapon, I think. Yeah, the model that we had. The problem with it was that you only had a right-handed model where the hot shells ejected back. And you're here, but I'm blind in my right eye, so I couldn't do that. I had to shoot it like that. And the damn shells came back and hit me. That's another story for another time. It's a funny story, though. Yeah, ask me about it now. I'll put one of those on. But, so, what I was getting around to was saying that I didn't want to have to deal with thinking about that so much anymore. And so I got to thinking about quantum entanglement. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that term. We're talking about the quantum world, and particles can be entangled, and particles are moving so fast all the time that they're never in any one position, and so physicists call that they're in a superposition. They're in all positions at once. And then when you measure them, they to a single position. Well, when you measure an entangled, a particle that's entangled with another particle, as soon as you measure one, and it just suddenly jumps into whatever when it's measured, going from superposition, like maybe it'll be, what do they call that? Up or down, down spin or up spin, I think it was. But if it measures up, then the entangled particle is down. And it doesn't matter how far apart they are. I mean, they can be across the universe from one another. And when all you got to do is measure one, and the other one is suddenly the opposite. It seems to be a phenomena of consciousness. Yeah, a phenomena of consciousness. Yeah. Anyway. So let's see. On considering quantum entanglement. So it was this morning, and I was considering quantum entanglement again. It's an idea that's often taken me on tangent journeys within my mind. It's led me on so many trips over the course of my last several decades, down dark holes that suddenly become bright, across vast oceans of space with islands of light, kaleidoscope of vivid ideas has taken shape in my mind's eye. Because I endeavor to understand the phenomena using logic, perhaps creative logic, and images within my mind, it is a journey for which there is no end for me and truly no destination. There was a time my math skills may have helped me, but my love of music, poetry, and mischief led me to other paths once I was drafted at 19. Did I mention I got drafted at 19? I was the last and only person drafted by my local draft board. That was the first year you didn't get a college deferment. I got 1 year of college in before they drafted me. Anyway, there was a time my math skills may have helped me, but my love of music, poetry, and mischief led me to other paths once I was drafted at 19. No doubt, that was my answer to the perplexing idea that our government could force me to stop what I was doing, set aside my interests and desires, and serve in the military. I wrestled with such a power over me just as I began taking my journey into adulthood. And the fact that the military could then place me in harm's way, even sacrifice my life for some idea or worse, to support a military-industrial complex. You know, Eisenhower warned us about that. Well, it was a bit much for me to take in, and thus mischief prevailed, along with music, poetry, and literature. I did study electronics and the electronic guidance systems of the Nike Earl missile, for which the Army decided I possessed a high aptitude, and I worked maintaining these missiles when I wasn't into too much mischief. I was in a lot of mischief while I was in the Army, but I was the guy that kept the missiles up in status. So the captain gave me quite a bit of leeway there, because our battery stayed up in status when we came up, meaning I'd got all the routines done while we were down. You're up in status for 1 week, and then you've got 3 weeks to get all your routines in. There was a lot of missiles, 3 barns of missiles. Yeah. But those things were a great deterrence. We were with NATO over in West Germany, in the mountains. Well, up close to the mountains. We were actually in the vineyards. But, yeah, it was a good duty for me because it was isolated. And that way, you know, the captain would have his say, meaning I didn't starch and iron my fatigues or polish my boots. Oftentimes didn't wear my cap. When it got a little chilly, I wore that white long-handled underwear and then rolled it up over the fatigue jacket. They called it a jacket. It was your damn shirt. Why they call it fatigue shirt? What's wrong with that? But no, it's your fatigue jacket. Yeah, so I didn't look Army. I rarely had a shave. My mustache was too long. My hair was too long. I rarely saluted anybody. I just wasn't military. And all I could say is, hey, you wanted me. Oh, my. But yeah, that fact really bothered me, that the military could place me in harm's way, even sacrifice my life for some idea or worse, like a military-industrial complex. Can you imagine the 13 people that got killed because Trump decided to make a war in Iran without thinking it through at all, without any notion whatsoever that the Iranians could put the squeeze there at the Strait of Hormuz? And everybody in the military knew it. All he had to do was ask. But he's not smart enough to ask. You see what I'm saying? You see how gullible it was to vote for this stupid sumbitch? God almighty. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I did the Nike Hurt missile. I knew about it. I knew electronics. I'd known that when I was a teenager. My father worked for AT&T, and when I was a teenager, I must have been about 15 or 16, and he gave me the book that you studied to get a radio license. Told me to study it, and he'd take me to take the test for a radio license. That'd come in handy. I did what my father told me to do. You didn't ask questions with my father. Now, my younger sister, Jane, she could bug him. She could ask him questions. Her famous line was when he would tell her no, she'd wait a couple of minutes and then she'd say, "I wish you'd give me an answer." You think I could get away with that? Hell no. No way. Oh, Jane, she's a card. She is such a card. She's been a teacher all her life. Really good teacher. They brought her back after she retired to do long-term substitutes. She did 2 of them last year. She's in her 70s now, and she's still going up there and doing that. She stays in really good condition. She walks a lot. She's little, thin. She's a ball of fire, though. She is a ball of fire. I'm really proud of my sister. And I got a baby sister I'm very proud of, too. Yeah, I was very fortunate. I had wonderful parents and 2 great sisters to grow up with. So, anyway, I was able to keep those missiles up, and so that kept me out of trouble. But neither that study nor work required the math skills I had been using prior to being drafted, and that is so true. Yeah, my math was much better before I was drafted. I got way behind during those 2 years, and I never caught back up. Shame on me. I could have, with enough effort. I could have, but I didn't. I was too busy. I was too busy playing in bands. Well, I went to college too, but I put myself through school playing music, so I was working all the time. And then got in a band that would be touring, and I'd drop out of school until that, because it never lasted. The longest I ever toured was the last band I put together with Dave Shure. Let's see, Glenn was in that band with us. Glenn Majors, yeah. We went through a couple of drummers, but both of them were great. All 3 of them were great. Liked them all, but, you know. But we kept right on playing, performing, and for 4 years we toured. And the only reason we quit is I thought, I was 31, and I thought, wow. And I'd met Donna, and she hadn't been as lucky as me growing up. She had a tough childhood. I felt like that I had to have something that'd be a lot more steady for her. So I went to work for AT&T, and I played music on weekends and sometimes during the week, but I didn't travel. I just played around Atlanta. I worked for AT&T right downtown, 51 Ivy Street. I was proud of that. I readily agree that one must understand the language of math to a high degree in order to delve deeply into an understanding of the quantum world, and you really do, because that's the language you use to understand that world, because it's too damn small to see. And, you know, I like to try to put myself like I was there, but it's hard to imagine what it's actually like. I remain unconvinced that I would have further developed my math skills to the point of serious quantum study, even had I not been drafted. And I think that's probably true. I was probably too lazy to get into any serious quantum quantum study. My love of music, poetry, literature, philosophy, and history often stood in the doorway to further development of my math skills. That's that's a pretty good sentence. That's very true. Not to mention, I love baseball. Yeah, very much. And I love playing it. Yeah, very much as I love playing music. That's why I played in bands. I like teams. I like team sports. And I like team music. And doggone now, I'm doing solo. Oh, that's not how I was brought up. All my life I've played in bands. And all of a sudden, hey, just do a solo thing. The deal is be writing. Playing was the optimum word in this case. That's a good, yeah, I wrote that correctly. I played music. Played. That was the right verb. I played music. I didn't work music. I played it. Youth is for playing when opportunity presents itself. Well, that was true for me. Still, this morning I was entertaining another tangent journey into the idea of quantum entanglement when I recalled the holographic universe theory. Right. The theory endeavors to resolve the problem of quantum entanglement by suggesting our three-dimensional universe is actually a two-dimensional hologram, that space and time are created by entangled particles projected on a sphere that is infinitely far away. That infinite distance can be thought of as a distance from large, our reality, to infinitely small. In this universe, space and time as we experience it are an illusion, suggesting that we actually live in a quantum world, a separate reality manifested by quantum activity. It's a thought. I mean, get to thinking about that. Yeah, it could be that way. I don't know, though. I feel quite real. I admit, after considering the theory, the natural desire is to throw one's hands up and shout, impossible. I'm here. I can touch things, see the horizon, create things, interact with others, play with my dog. I was born as was everyone else. I witnessed my twins being born. I did. I was there. But then I thought about dreams I've had and how real some of those dreams seemed. And I remembered that heat, temperature, is nothing but atoms within an atom, a thing in rapid motion. Light is photons traveling in a wave, a part of the electromagnetic spectrum that washes over the darkness and illuminates. Fundamental properties, we had said. Take for granted, rarely consider, yet they are actually awe-inspiring. And that's true, it is. Just the fact that the light comes, and think about that. When the sun comes down, light washes over. I mean, you can get in the shade, but there's still light. The shade isn't dark. And of course, that's because the atmosphere diffuses. You get on the moon and cast a shadow, it's dark. But not on Earth, which is a nice thing. I closed my eyes and imagined being small enough that I could see the fuzzy outlines of our atoms, understanding the electron would be orbiting the proton and neutron within the nucleus at a very high rate of speed, so it would be fuzzy. Yeah, so fast that it makes like a cloud. But how would I see? What light would be at this depth, this distance from a light source? The distance from our reality and starlit world to such a small world equates to interstellar distances. I imagine a high-speed photograph taken with a powerful microscope using a light source and realize it's but a snapshot of a unit in constant motion. You know, we use electron microscopes because light won't work at that. When you get that small, light won't work. What light would be at this depth, this distance from a light source, the distance from our reality and starlit world to such a small world equates to interstellar distances. Yeah, I imagine a high-speed photograph taken with a powerful microscope over a light source. Realize it's but a snapshot of a unit in constant motion. Just as time slows at the event horizon of a black hole, time must be much faster relative to the quantum world. And I wonder if that affects quantum entanglement. Then I stray onto a different tangent of thought and consider how a holographic universe could open a path to interstellar travel, like riding down the interstate. You got interstate highways, surely we can have interstellar travel, like folding the plane of space-time, creating a short distance between points that have vast distances between themselves and the universe as we view it. Since the holograph universe is a two-dimension reality projected onto a spherical surface from within the center of the sphere, which enables quantum entanglement, then we should be able to drop toward the projector in the relative absence of time and be projected to a faraway point within the universe. Or perhaps use quantum entanglement to jump through space. Of course, then I get into consideration of multiverses, which cause me to wonder, what's beyond a universe or multiverse? Yeah, you ever thought about that? Wondered about that? Either within our reality and crossing the universe like crossing an ocean, or disappearing into the quantum world with the idea of coming out on the other side, like going into a tunnel and emerging on the other side. At this point, I may as well be dreaming despite consideration for string theory. If you're familiar with string theory, it gets into the multiverse. Of course, string theory predicts multiverses, which for some reason always causes me to take a trip down a tangential idea regarding time. And yes, I did write a song about time. That's true. I wrote a song about time. I was on a mountain retreat when I wrote that song. I wrote a few songs on that retreat. If one considers as a dimension, let me go back. If one considers time as a dimension, then imagines time to stop, then imagine the next moment but be able to move forward in time, that next moment becomes another dimension. Without the movement enabled by the phenomena of time, our reality ceases to exist. Such an idea causes me to think of time as a dimension, particularly as I consider a space-time continuum. And for those who have read to this point, you know time is a dimension, and I likely have too much of it in an idle form. And for those of you who are still with me, you know time is a dimension, and I likely have too much of it in an idle form. one of my better sentences. Well, hey, I've enjoyed giving you my ideas on quantum entanglement. What a phenomenon. But that's been proven. And the guys who proved it got a, what do they call those things? God, I'm bad about that anymore. Things that I know and they're on the tip of my tongue, I can't spit them out anymore. All my life I could spit them out without any trouble. And now, you know, people used to say I had a memory like a steel trap. Unfortunately, that steel trap, the steel, was not stainless steel. It got rusty. I can't believe I can't call that the name. You know, it's what Trump thought he should get for peace. Damn. Yeah, when I get like this, and I try to think of it, then it's like my brain goes, I'm not gonna let I'm not gonna let it go until you stop worrying about it. Then I'll suddenly let you remember. Yeah, my brain I was going to say my brain kind of plays tricks on me, but I am what I think. And that's going on in my brain. The synapses all. Well, anyway, obviously I need to get back to writing some more music and recording some more music. And I will do that. And by the way, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for giving me a listen. I hope you enjoy my songs. And I did this little. This is the second time I've done one of these little talks, and I was doing it because I was asked to do it. I had no intention of doing that when I made the channel. I made the channel because I had friends that kept saying, you know, put your songs on the YouTube. And, well, I've got recordings. I've got all these studio recordings that I've done over the last few years. And I don't have a video to go with that, just a recording. You don't want to put that on YouTube. And I do want to put my recordings on, but I need to come up with some idea of a video for them. If nothing else, at least a few pictures to kind of give you something. I mean, that's why you tune into YouTube. If you just wanted to listen to music, then go listen to music. I feel sorry for the guys now. You know, we had these great stereo systems and LP records and reel-to-reel tapes. And we got really high fidelity with that stuff. We did. That was one thing that was really great when I was in the Army. We got a shot at some very good equipment at reduced prices. And we took advantage of it. A lot of us ended up with a pretty damn nice stereo system. I had a Kenwood, and I did a receiver because that's what I could afford. I guess I should admit I had an Article 15. The captain couldn't protect me from everything. Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah, I pushed somebody too far once. Anyway, I did that when I worked for AT&T too. Yeah, I pushed someone too far. I had to take a little non-paid vacation for that. It was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth it. Oh, well, it's good to laugh. So thanks. Peruse the channel. They tell me I should always encourage you to, damn, I forgot that too. Damn. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Oh, what have we come to in this world? We won't charge you anything to watch our stuff, except we want you to like and subscribe. But we can't make you like and subscribe. But we sure would appreciate it if you did like and subscribe. Because that, the more you like and subscribe, the more others might. The video, you know, you get, as you get more likes and subscribes, I guess my understanding is the YouTube folks promote the video a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. Put it in the right place where people can find you. I mean, there are so many on there. Hell, you can't watch everything. Only a handful of people know I exist on this thing. So, if you get to where you got a lot of people watching you, then somehow or another it's monetized, as they say. In other words, you get paid. Oh, that'd be great, since I'm once again a poor musician, retired. Yeah, I prepared for retirement, but I didn't prepare for some of the shit that happened. Well, I thought I'd retire and I'd be in great health and I'd be buzzing around and stuff until I died. Well, that almost happened. I lived through it. But, yeah. Oh, well. I'm still laughing, ain't I? Anyway, once again, thanks. I enjoy this. I just imagine that you're watching. So, if you are, I appreciate it. I had somebody I could shoot the shit with. I'll write up some more and do a few more of these, but mostly I got a bunch of songs in mind, so I need to get out there and get over to my studio again and record some more. And George and I are getting really close with my newest album. It'll be my 7th album. I did 4 with my sons, and then I did 2 alone. And I was the engineer. And the thing about that is, you every part that you play, and I played all the parts, and I sang all the vocal parts. And every part that you do, you've got to do it all the way through without a mistake. Whereas normally when you're in the studio, you make a little mistake here and a little mistake there. And that's okay. Go back and the engineer you can be playing along and the engineer will punch you in and punch you out and fix it. But if you're the one that's doing the playing, you can't reach over and punch and get back. You know, that's what they call TS, tough shit. So you have to do it all the way through without a mistake. invariably what'll happen is you a difficult part or something, and you're playing it, and you get really close to the end, and then you make an error, and you, damn it! If there's anything around you can kick, you kick it. Stomp around a little bit. Damn it! Oh boy. But I did 2 albums like that, and now I get to do this one with George. It's George Calhoun. He's pretty well known. He's been around for a while. He's a good friend of mine, or I'm a good friend of his. Vice versa. We're both out on the east side of Atlanta. Oh, Atlanta. Yeah. So we're getting close. Got 13 songs. I got just a few more parts on a couple of songs that I want to do. And then we've got to get in and do all the mixing. So, soon, but I've got to figure out a way to put it on, to put my recordings on the channel. And I will. I'll figure out something. I'll think of something. I'd like to make some cartoons. Maybe I'll think of a way to do that. Well, thanks again. Thanks for seeing my channel. Peruse at your leisure. Like and subscribe. And come on back. I'll see you next time.